Welcome to a Thetford Academy tradition that is in its 30th year. This is the anthology reading for a course entitled English 10, Identity and Voice. My name is Emily Silver, English teacher of this semester's 2 sections of English 10. This morning, we are featuring half of the course's students, and this afternoon, we'll hear from the other half. Since this project began back in 1991 with teacher Peggy Sadler, the assignment has shifted, but the essence has remained the same. The students have been working on this for the past 3 months. Their collections consist of their own writing as well as works by others, and there are particular requirements for both of these categories. In addition, students compile little by little a list of works they have cited, which is often a rather painstaking process. The format of the students' presentation of their project has changed here and there over the years, most dramatically in the last year, as you can imagine. But what has endured is that the students will share a part of themselves. They'll get nervous, some will have fun, will listen, and in the end, we hope that they end up being proud of themselves. After the last student presents, I'll invite audience members or even participants to type questions for the presenters into the chat. During the presentations, librarian Kate Owen will be managing the chat. Students, if you have any trouble presenting your tab or screen, speak up when it's your turn, and I'll present your website from my screen. Audience, please make sure to mute yourself. But if your camera is on, audience, please cheer wildly so we will see you clapping after each student presents. And now I present to you our first student.
I would like to welcome you to my anthology. My name is Eldon Crossett, and I titled my anthology, The Mind and the Soul. I will now read to you the first 2 paragraphs of my preface to illustrate the focus of this anthology, as well as how I came to have this title. I created this anthology with a sole focus, to lack a focus. I know that this is contradictory, but I will explain. I'd like to first begin by stating the fact that this anthology began as an English class assignment, but in my mind became a special personal project that I got time to work on during school. As I sat looking at my empty Google site, it was a blank canvas that I wanted to illustrate with a collection of not only my favorite works, but works that said something about me. I wanted to deeply connect with different works as I searched through all of the content available to me that fit the guidelines set in the assignment. If I did so with a direct focus, I believe it would filter content to fit or a guide or a plan of what my anthology would become. And so, as I browsed through famous music, plays, quotes, and literature, I selected works that either caught my attention, spoke to me, or made me ponder them. This is when I found the purpose of my anthology. I wanted my anthology and its works to reflect me, and this is how I plan to do so. This is where my title comes into play. My title was the second thing I added to my anthology, the first being the background of my title page. I did not give either component much thought outside of the image being one that I liked and thought looked nice, and the title was on par with the titles of the other students that took this class the semester before me. My title found its meaning when I found the focus of my anthology. I have long pondered the difference between the mind and the soul. They both seem to be the most impactful components of what makes up a person. The mind gives awareness to the world and experiences, and thinking and feeling. The soul Well, the soul is more complicated and controversial. The dictionary doesn't describe the soul as I feel it should be. To me, the soul is an underlying component of what makes a person who they are, their subconscious values, ideals, and emotions. I work to make this anthology from my soul, believing it would better reflect who I was and not who my mind might think me to be. I will now continue with a tour of the different sections of my anthology and highlight some of my favorite works. My largest section and first is my poetry section, consisting of the past and the present, which are works from living and past authors. In my present section, I have works from some teen authors who are my peers and also good friends. One of my favorites of these examples is I Wonder by Marshall Melanson, and also include Happiness by Isaiah Cole. In the past section of my poetry section, I have most notably The Light of Stars, which was a piece that I performed for my school's Poetry Out Loud competition. And in my memorization of it, it has been ingrained into my mind. And so including it in my anthology was only fair. I also have my songs section. In this section, I included songs that I not only enjoy to listen to, but as I thought about this topic in my preface, that songs that lyrics really spoke to me and are almost poetic. I have included here Imagine by John Lennon and In the End. And as I said in my preface, I actually do go on to discuss how my including of only the lyrics means something to me, as I find that most of my works included in my anthology are poetry or poetry in some form. And it makes me think about how much I value poetry, and that was very interesting to discover. Another section in my anthology is excerpts, which are excerpts from many books and plays that I found to be invaluable and intriguing. These include Basics by Nicole King, Walden by Henry David Thoreau, and Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I also have a quote section where I have two sections from two ancient philosophers whose quotes are very, very impactful to me, because these ancient scholars come from a more simpler time where the purposes of life were maybe more clear than they are today. My work, as was said by Miss Silver, was a required section, but one I enjoyed greatly as it allowed me to reflect on all of the work I had done this year. Some of these include a piece where I discuss the origins of my full name and multiple pieces of poetry that I composed and are very proud of, and also a history paper and a honors response to a book we read. And that is my anthology. I have learned a lot about myself from it, and really enjoyed making it.
So this is my anthology. I will be. So I'm Charlie Longshaw, and this is my anthology. My anthology's name titled An Adventure. So I titled my anthology An Adventure because everything is an adventure as time goes on. We add to that adventure as we meet new people and try new things. There's a
Charlie, I'm just going to interrupt. We're looking at your edited version, so we're not seeing the pages you're talking about. There we go. Great.
there's a quote out there that says every journey begins with a single step, and that step has to be in the right direction. Through everything that I've done in the past years, I've been trying to step in that right direction. All of the work that on these papers either been from experience or something that I've done in class. I'm proud to say that the overnight experience was one of the best. One of the best. The reason why is the book we were reading called The Trap, and it was about staying in the cold. And I'm just gonna jump over here. I'm gonna read a. It's the poem. I'm just gonna read a couple stanzas. It is called If Tomorrow Starts Without Me by David Ramono. If tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you care for me, and how much I care for you. And each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. But when tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand and said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I'd be leaving all those I dearly love. But as I turned to walk away, a tear fell from my eye. For all life, I always thought I didn't want to die. I had so much to live for, and so much yet to do. It seemed almost impossible that I was leaving you. I thought of all the I thought of all the love we shared, and all the fun we had. If I could relive yesterday, I thought, just for a while, I'd say goodbye and hug you. Maybe you see you smile. But I fully realized that this could never be, for emptiness and memories would take the place of me. And when I thought of worldly things, I'd miss come tomorrow. I thought of you, and when I did, my heart was filled with sorrow. And I'm just gonna go down, and you guys can look and see. I can go a little bit slower. Y'all can read the poems and everything. The pictures that I picked, what I thought best described the places in these pictures, and I think that um, they were they most had the fit for them.
Seems maybe he is frozen. We'll wait another moment, and then perhaps we'll go to the next person and then come back. Okay, we will now, let's do applause anyway, even though he's not here to see it. Charlie's not here to see it. Woo! Now we go to our next person.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and welcome to my anthology. I'm first going to read a part of my preface, and then I'm going to walk you through the different parts of my anthology and read works by me. A Life of Roses. A life of roses is one of the most cliche sayings I have heard in my life. When I was younger, I never really liked quotes similar to this because it made me feel like it was forcing me to believe that everything in life is a big bouquet of bright red roses tied with a white bow. As a kid, I enjoyed everything about nature, but something about roses I didn't like. I loved how each plant, bug, and tree had its own mind. Plants do not compare each other. When a poppy grows next to a rose, it does not wish it was that rose. They simply focus on their signature bright red color and soft, flappy petals. When you hear the word rose, you think of romance and love. This narrative was given to us. But who made it? Who decided roses were going to be the most stunning and superior flower? The rose never chose it. And that is just a look into my anthology. I first have a history of eventing, and I wanted to add this because I ride horses myself, so I thought it was a crucial part to add. And then I have some pieces from Shakespeare, and I really loved Romeo and Juliet, so I wanted to add that. I also have some novels, and I have poems. And in my poems, I wanted to include a lot about nature and spring. I also have works by other teens from other English classes, as well as work from dead poets. And finally, I have works by me, and I'm going to read my name. My full name is Hannah Wren Williams. When I was quite young, I was very proud of the name. My mom fell in love with the name when her friend named her daughter Wren. She decided to make it my middle name. As I grew up, she always told me how much she loved it and how unique it was. I loved that my middle name was Wren growing up. I would always watch birds feed off the bird feeder in the winter and persistently ask my parents if they were wrens. The answer was almost always no, but that did not stop me from asking them if the next bird I saw was a wren. My favorite part about it was especially that the W was silent. I am not sure how I enjoyed that part of my name so much, but it is a clear memory of mine as a child. Although I loved my middle name growing up, as I got older, my thoughts towards my name faced a challenge, which was not being the most common middle name. It's not that I started to dislike my middle name, it's that I felt odd not having a common middle name. It may seem strange that as a kid I overanalyzed stuff that seems irrelevant, but it was very common for me. As I started getting older, I thought less and less about my middle name and its impact on me. Whenever I think of it now, I like that I have Ren as my middle name and no other. Thank you for listening.
And now we will jump to Cadence.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is my anthology. My name is Cadence Rich, and I titled it The Ocean. I'm going to read a part from my preface. When COVID hit, it forced me to realize all of the things I could normally do that I no longer could. I remember walking into grocery stores without a mask and hugging people I hadn't seen in forever. I remember being able to travel for my brother's baseball games. I remember having to stay away from my grandparents and other family members. That time was very hard for me. Being home for that amount of time made me realize how important spending time with family is. And I'll bring you guys through here. So this is my work by others, writers during my time. This is a lot of students from previous classes. Some of them are obviously other people. Writers before my time. And then works by me. I included my history paper actually on Marie Curie. And then I'm going to read Salty Ocean. Okay. As I sat on the beach, watching the seagulls fly around me, I could hear cars beeping in the distance, the waves crashing on the shore, kids yelling as the big waves barreled toward them. They ran back to the warm sand. I stood up and walked towards the not-so-pleasant-looking water. The water touched my feet. The sand felt like it was melting from below me. As I walked further into the salty ocean, the water didn't feel so warm. The water touched my stomach, taking my breath away. And that is the end of my anthology.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. It's skinny and tall, like a phone, but we can see it just fine.
Okay. Hi, my name is Brianna Beeland, and this is my anthology called Dandelion. I'm now going to read a part of my preface. What I noticed about my anthology is that when I read my pieces, I feel connected to them because they have a deep and powerful meaning. The piece I feel most connected to are the movie quotes and lyric quotes. The movie quote I chose was, "Most people are stronger than they know. They just forget to believe it sometimes," by Mark Twain. This piece is my favorite because it relates to all people and helps you to remember that you are strong, and you should always remember that. It is a very powerful piece. I'm someone who loves making memories with friends and family, even if it's something little we are doing. Things like going to beaches, taking road trips, going to the grocery store, playing board games, and just hanging out. These things are really important to me. I love traveling with my family and friends especially. I love seeing new places and being able to explore new things. When COVID hit, it stopped for a long time. Even the little memories such as going out to eat or going on road trips was really hard. It made me realize how important it is to enjoy those moments and made me realize I miss having not to wear a mask everywhere I go or worrying about getting sick. Now I'm going to give you a tour. These are some of my poems. I chose these poems because I tried to choose poems that had like deep meaning and that I felt connected to people. And then this is my works by me. I included an essay I wrote for history class. And then my movie and lyric quote, which I chose because they were really powerful. And then my plays, I actually performed, I performed The Purpose of the Moon with Miss Silver for the class. And then my articles. Writers during my lifetime. My poetry. Writers before my lifetime. And then my works cited. And now I'm going to read my favorite piece, which is my name piece. My name reminds me of spring for some reason. I think it has to do with my middle name being May, and the month of May being in spring. My name also reminds me of Ireland because of the fact that it's an Irish name. My brother's birthday is also in May, but he was born after me, so it wasn't on purpose. My parents wanted a name that was unique at the time. They also wanted a name of Irish descent. The meaning of my name of Irish origin is strong, virtuous, and honorable. So they looked through a list of Irish names and chose Brianna. When I'm older, I want my kids to have names of Irish descent and keep the tradition. I have a good amount of nicknames given to me by my family and friends, such as Brie Brie, Briance, Banana Cakes, Brie, and Brianna May when my parents are mad at me. I would not change my name if I could because I like how it's not common. There are definitely people named Brianna in the world, but most spelled with a E or an O. My middle name is May after my grandmother's middle name, and was the name of my mom's grandmother. My parents wanted to pass down the names from within our family. Thank you.
Yay! I believe our next reader is not here, which means we jump to you, Natalia. Good, we can hear you now, Natalia. I can hear the birds singing.
Okay, hold on. Hi, my name is Natalia, and I titled my my anthology "Behind Every Race Car Driver Who Believes in Herself Is a Family Who Believed in Her First." I'm going to read 2 paragraphs of my preface. A lot of my anthology wraps around the things I love doing, like ice fishing with my family and friends, racing, which I have done since I was 13, pieces about my name and how I got it, and lots more. I added a piece called New Hope Farm, Conserving Farmland for the Future, which is about the farm I work at. Most of the background pictures are pictures of race cars I have raced, my dad's cars, and above this text, there is a picture of 3 trucks and 3 cars. This was from October 12th, 2020, the day that I raced with my stepdad, 2 of my uncles, my friend Emmett, and I raced in. We came home with 1 less car than we did leaving the house Sunday morning before the race. I was the only one to finish all 125 laps. My uncle, Jamie, would have finished the race, but he rolled his car on lap 79. Red car with a smashed windshield in the photo behind the red Chevy. Anyway, I won't keep you here, so go ahead, continue. I hope you like my anthology. And that is the car right there. This is my racing page. It has work by others, including an article about the oldest NASCAR driver, and it's titled Let Her Rip Tater Chip. This is my quotes page, and it has a couple of my favorite quotes. And in the background at the top are a picture of my cows. This is others writing not related to racing, and it's called Hurry Up, Get In, Shut Up, and Hold On. And it has work by teen writers from TA, and then novel excerpts and a couple more. This is my writing, and it's got responses to books and a couple that I wrote. And this is my farm life page about how farming impacts teenagers. And behind this text is a picture of my stepdad and friend when we were working at the farm. The piece I will read to you is called Flag, about ice fishing. Flag. Look around the lake. All we see are people and flags. No, these aren't racing flags or American flags. These are tip-up flags, popping up left and right. Fish, fish, everywhere in sight. We see perch, smelt, and bass, some pickerel and some trout. The augers in the background, along with the planes landing on and taking off the ice. the wind blowing the trees. Oh, look, someone on skis. Not only does my family go out and ice fish, all my best friends go out too. We stay out on the lake all weekend until Sunday night. We have 6 shanties out on Lake Fairley. We all look out the window for the next flag. And that is my anthology. I hope you liked it.
And now we will hear from Dominic. Dominic, do you need me to present your anthology? And I'll follow your lead with what to click. Well, let's jump to you, Noah.
All right. Hi, I'm Noah Abernethy, and this is my anthology. I titled my anthology Pitter Patter, Let's Get At Her, because that's the way that I go through things that I do. When I find a challenge, I go into it full force. For example, this anthology. I didn't want to do it, but I intend to give it my best effort. The first thing is the articles that I have. Both are about fishing. My first one is the 5 must-haves for beginners. It talks about the proper tools, lures, and other things that you need to go fishing for the first time. The other article is catching more bass. It's both of them are by professional fishermen, and this one says and talks about lures, rods, techniques, different types of reels and line for different applications. I have multiple quotes from 2 different people. The first one is Trump. He's really good at having different quotes that really are powerful to me in the way that it kind of goes along with my views in life. And I'll read one of these. It's the first one. It's no dream is too big, no challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. It kind of tells me no matter what your dream is, and no matter how big the goal is, you can achieve it in some form. The other person I quote is Chris Brandt. He's an avid snowmobiler. My parents threw me on a sled, and I knew instantly that snowmobiling was something I couldn't get enough of. This shows to me that if you work hard enough and you really enjoy what you do, you're not going to work a day in your life. Then I have all my writings, some from people alive before my time, some people alive today, and multiple from me. I have a personal writing, Back to Blue. My writings from people alive in my lifetime. I did poetry out loud with this Cornelius Eddy poem, Small Moment. Poems from people before my life. The Hunger Moon, that one really tied to me in how it tied into nature, and I am very intrigued by things going around in nature. I wrote a short little 3-paragraph writing about my name and how it became my middle name. Then I have my U.S. history, farming in the 1800s history paper. My wonder piece. This was a piece that I wrote in my other class of outdoor education. This also tied into the Back the Blue writing. I extended this writing for the Back the Blue. Free the Frogs is a play that I did with a couple other students in this class as a play. As a kid, I remember this is a writing that I really took some time and analyzed all the moments that I remember from up at my grandmother's camp. Punch and Duty is another play that multiple students in this class did. And then I have 2 writings, both by students from TA. This one's a friend of mine that is in my outdoor education class. And this is from a student that was in past classes and in my outdoor education as well. I have my last writing that I will read. It's called The Lone Ranger. As I look into the woods, and there is a slight shimmer of from the snow glowing in the night. The lone set of footprints wandering through the trees, occasional howl of dogs in the woods. The wind rips through my jacket and the trees crack in the cold. I think of the wood fire I smell in the distance. How the warmth of the fire will take the ice demons out of my soul and bring the fire dragon back to life. That's my anthology, and thank you for listening.
All right. Yeah, Noah, and yeah, people. That concludes our presentations. So what I would like to do now is, while I'm working to click a few things and share my screen to give you a little visual of everybody's, an image that relates to everybody's anthology, please see if you can think of a question to ask the students and type it into the chat about their experience. Oh, I get to change this now to, instead of in the making, I could just say Spring 21 Voices. That was this class, and now you'll start seeing ones from D Block. All right, Kate Owen has asked, what was the most challenging part of the anthology project for you? Who would like to share an answer? Go for it, Eldon.
I think that the most difficult part for me was probably writing my preface, because my preface kind of was me summing up my focus and all of my ideas for my anthology. And so after I had my preface, everything else kind of fell into place and had a purpose and a meaning.
Raise your hand, students, if any of you share that thought, that the preface was the most challenging part. Okay. Brianna shared that experience. And Karen Martin said that she had the same question. What about this? What was one of the most satisfying elements of this project for you? We got to hear Eldon's voice. Natalia, go for it.
One of the most satisfying things probably was watching it all come together after each piece was put in.
Emily, unmuted.
Thank you. I said I see some nods from your classmates, Natalia. Okay, Karen Martin asked, how far into making your anthology did the process make sense to you? We've heard from Natalia, Eldon. Hannah, go for it.
It took a while for it to kind of blend in because in the beginning I didn't have any sense of where I was going, so I was just getting pieces randomly with no theme. And then I worked on my preface, and I really got into my preface and like more of a meaning to it. And then I was like, oh, these poems actually kind of blend into what my preface means. So it didn't actually really fall into place until my preface, which was the last thing I did. So there's some weird pieces in it that make really no sense.
Brianna, do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. It didn't really like make sense until like the end, and like when you're like going back over it and you're like reading through everything and reading all the pieces and your preface and stuff, like it all has a meaning at the end. Like you really understand what the purpose of it was.
Well, congratulations to all of you. Do we have anyone in the audience who has made an anthology? Yes, we have. Karen Martin made one when she was in this class. Kate, did you end up compiling one too? She did that this semester in solidarity with the student she was helping. That's really cool. After all these years of helping other students. Okay, well, thank you very much, audience. Congratulations to you, students. A milestone in hitting this mark in English 10. There's the English 10 anthology. There's the social studies class with the paper that students take in either 11th or 12th grade classes. These are two big things. Congratulations on checking this one off, and hopefully will stay in your heart. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.